Ron stuff. Today's episode is going to be another video on green screen setup and things to watch out for. There's a lot of YouTubes and a lot of videos on green screen setup. Some are helpful and some are not. I'm trying to fill in the blanks. I am totally stupid on green screen, so you're getting a novice's view and what you got to do and what you have to look out for. So in the next couple clips, I'll show you how I proceeded to try to get where I am right now. What you can see is I have a image, at least, behind me for this recording. So without ado, let me go ahead and stop this and go to the next piece. Okay, this is my green screen setup, and I'm going to show what's wrong with it and what's right with it, and things for you to watch out for. I have floodlights up here. I have 4 of them. 3 are pointed toward the screen. I have 1 pointed downward toward me. And you can see what I did was I have a 10-foot by 10-foot screen. And I wanted to be able to roll it up against the ceiling, so I velcroed it to 2 pieces of PVC pipe, and in the 2 position it gives it some rigidity. It still has a sag in it, but it's not real bad. But anyway, the real problems I have is, first of all, I have a light source coming through those windows down there, and what you don't want is the back of your green screen lit. So what I have to do in my case is turn off the lights. Now I have this situation. It's fairly dark down in here without any lights on the green screen, and my green screen here appears pretty green, and I will add some light to it. And it has a good green color. And because I don't have, and I'll show you if I, there. Now the overhead backlit lights are on, and I'll show you what it looks like with no light. Because it's backlit here at the top, it just doesn't come up as a good green. And here I can adjust the green with my overhead lighting. And okay, so my real problem, if I can turn the lights out and get no light on the back, is I have to cover up the other light source. So the sum total of this one is that you don't want a light backlighting your green screen. If you put it against a wall, that would be perfect. But you gotta, in a room like this, you have to eliminate all sources of light on the back. And this particular screen, I told you, is 10 foot by 10 foot, so I haven't sorted out exactly how to. I thought about attaching another track to the bottom, so when I roll it up, I'll keep it relatively straight and relatively wrinkle free. As you can see, it's not bad. I don't have any lights properly adjusted, but I have to cover up these windows, and I'm going to do that now, and then I'll start playing with the green screen. Okay, with my light source from the doors down there covered up, I got a little bit of light coming in, but not much, and my overhead lights turned off. I don't have any backlight on the green screen. So this is what the setup looks like for the 10 foot by 10 foot green screen, and you can see that it is relatively straight, wrinkle free. I got a slight bow in it at the top because of the PVC pipe. If you could mount the green screen to a wall, that would be the perfect way to do that. I want to be able to wind this thing up and keep it against the ceiling when I'm not using it, and that's why I'm doing it. I haven't perfectly got the lights. I'm using 100-watt natural light floods, and I have them on these plug-in rheostats, if you will. You can buy these a lot of places, but with that, I'm allowed to change the brightness of the overhead. You see that? I can go totally dark, and I have two separate rheostats. One for highlighting the green screen, and one for highlighting me and the area right behind me. And this is what the green screen looks like, and you'll see it's fairly wrinkle free. I did have to use an iron on it to start with, but otherwise it seems to be okay at this point. Now I'm going to start playing around with the actual webcam, which I have right here, and it is a Logitech HD Pro webcam, and I use this microphone, and I'll be using NCH software to record my webcam and also to put something in behind on my green screen. So I'm going to try to set that up now and then show you how I do it. I'm going to run on stuff. Let's see, I'm going to make it change right away and put me over there. Okay. Green screen, continuation of green screen. In the previous little clip, beginning of this, I showed you my layout for the 10-foot green screen and how I had to cut out all light sources in behind the screen so it was not backlit from the back at all to have a true green screen on this side. Now I've had to play with my lights again, and the only way I can get it to work is I have one up here pointing at the screen, and if I bring my hand down, that casts a shadow on the screen, and that caused it, the background, it couldn't follow it. It's a different color, green. If I do it over here, you see how I have created a shadow off of that light up there. So, and I have two lights pointing downward toward the bottom of the screen. And if I move this one over, I create a shadow on the screen that creates a different color green. And if I do it this way, you see I start disrupting. There's my, because that's the shadow I created on the screen in the background. Now if I go back, the other thing was, and I had told you in the, if you've already looked at video green screen work, it tells you to be 6 foot away from the camera. So the farther I move back, generally the better it is. I have a little at the top right now, and I'm not sure why. If I move forward, it'll be all right. I have NCH software, and I'm using a image as a background, and it's a pretty high quality image, and I have to play around with what my green screen looks like in the background, and then I have rheostats, if you will, on the lights as what the intensity of they are. And eventually I can come to a point where you get what you see here. If I keep my hand in the middle, you see I do have some shadows. I'm not particularly well lit. I'm only getting a little bit of edge lighting from the two up above. I do not have one directly above me. I'm going to try that eventually and see if that helps anything. I think at this distance my face is fairly good, and I don't cause a whole lot of problems keeping it within the range of motion here. You don't see it distracting anything. You can definitely see that I'm not well lit. Okay, so summarize the end. Nothing, you don't want any light on the back of your green screen. The room should be dark. That is the best way to get a green representation on your screen. The other thing is that you want to try to smooth out all of the wrinkles. Now I have a 10-foot screen, and at the bottom I had nothing there. It was just laying on the floor. I wound up putting some bricks on it to smooth out both edges where it wanted to wrinkle up or roll up. I have smoothed those out, and that's helped a lot. So you can see it's not bad at this point. The other things, this particular camera, the Logitech HD, has an application that I think you get it automatically, but if you don't, you can add it, which allows you to do zoom on the camera, or change brightness or saturation and all those sorts of things. And I've played around with those, and I'll show you what happens when I do that. Here, I'm going to bring it up over here. You won't be able to see it, but this is me changing the zoom, and I can also then change where my picture is in the green screen. I'm going to go back to zoom, and I can position me down here, and you see what happens up there. I'm going to pull the zoom back. Now I can't go any smaller than that, but I can move to the left or the right. My camera is not centered on my screen right now. It's being held by a I want to get there. Oh. You see how I can move the position of the camera? It has, besides, I'm not taking the camera and moving it where it's attached to the screen. I'm moving it in what's called Brio, B-R-I-O, which allows me to, and I can also change various other settings, like it's going down here, image adjustment. I can do things like autofocus is currently on, auto exposure is currently on. If I do auto exposure off, this is what I get. Auto exposure on, I got a little bit of crazy at the top. This is the temperature setting, and what it really does is sort of changes, it's going to change the color of the green, if you will, and somewhere in here is a perfect sort of balance. And you can play with that as well. So there's a lot of variables to do with green screen. Probably because I'm leaning forward. You can change brightness. Brightness has a big impact. This is all having to do with settings in the webcam. That appears to be okay for me. You have contrast. It seemed like when I increased the contrast a lot, it darkened my face, and so I picked a level in here somewhere. Saturation mainly just turns, you can see how my face reddens, and if I lighten it up too much, then it can't discriminate me from the background. So that's about where I have that set. And sharpness, I'm not sure it did anything. I've gone all the way to the max. I don't see any particular difference. I go all the way to the min, and I don't see any particular difference. These are all settings electronically done in the camera, and I'm going to go back to that, and this is what it looks like. It's fairly stable at this point. I don't see any green appearing much of anywhere. There's a little bit on my hand because I got a shadow, and that changes what the software can discriminate. So I'm summarizing once again. Green screen setup. It's not as easy as it sounds. You want a dark room. The only lights you want are on your green screen. and I haven't quite figured out exactly how to properly light me. I think I'm okay at this point with actually no light directly focused on me. I'm just getting some residual light out of the 4 floodlights I'm using that are 100 watt each, and they're 8-inch diameter aluminum floods, and I have them sort of pointed in weird ways toward the screen. That's about it for now. I have yet to conquer putting a video in the background. I will try to show you what happens if I do that. I'm going to put, like, here's a video, and it's going to process, and then you'll see what happens. It goes at a really fast speed, and I haven't been able to solve that problem yet. If I change and put another video in, there is some I have captured off of the web that seem to work okay. I think I showed one earlier. Debut. And here is a spacecraft. Now it rotates a little fast, but you can see it. The frame rate is not correct on this, but you can see that you can do video in the background, and I didn't really have to play with any of the settings. When I had the screen set for the color, the green, properly adjusted, and me like where I wanted in the lighting, then I can change a background or insert a video, and it kicks right up. This video I captured off of the web, and you see its frame rate is not high, is wrong. If I try another video, and I think I have one more that I'll try as a background. I think I had one where it was splashing in water or something. It's processing. You see this appear, maybe it's running too fast and it's just not obvious to me, but this is another video, and what I can sort out, it has to do with frame rate, and I've yet to sort that particular problem out. You would think that I could adjust the frame rate of the background video somehow, but so far I have not. But you see what I got at this point. This was with 4 floods, all pointing on the green screen. I do not have any light source directly on me. I'm just getting residual lighting, and there's no other lighting in this room. I don't have any lights behind the green screen. So it's sort of successful to me. Now, it's kind of here's a other substantial question, is what do you use as a background? Okay, I've gone to all this trouble, and I can put various images back there, but what exactly do I want as a background image? It's I haven't sort of quite, I thought the idea was, the background image would be cool, but I somehow have to integrate it into it from a visual point of view, and I'm not sure that I do that. I can obviously move my chair around sometimes. I could go way over here, and you see now I'm getting a shadow cast on me because I moved in the wrong direction. But if I stay away from the camera at least 3 or 4 feet, and that's what I'm doing now, I'm at least, it's at least 4 feet away. It retains its ability to differentiate me from the background real well. Okay, so you do want to stay somewhat away. And then again, what is the background that I want to use? I don't know yet. I haven't sorted out what am I trying to achieve by putting a background in? I am not sure yet. Let's see what this is. This is okay. But you see how I didn't have to change anything else. I could just change the image, and I didn't have to adjust anything else to make it work. And I have down in here somewhere, let's see, that one's kind of cool in a way, and I can sit over here. Now that's a little harder to discriminate because it's so white. But anyway, what background do I want while I'm talking? That's a good question. I haven't really sorted it out. I don't know what background I would want. And I keep looking at various images, trying to decide if they would work or not. I kind of like this one. It's colorful and it's tech. This is a server room, and since I do a lot of tech work, it seems to be holding pretty well. Let's see, over here, I created a shadow, and that's why I blocked one of the lights over here. I'm creating shadow off of the light that's right over in that corner, and you can see if I get a shadow, then the shadow, the green, is not green like it was, and that's why it's discriminate. It can't probably discriminate the background. But here's one I don't mind too much. And again, I can go to the electronic adjustment of my camera, and let's see, it was back up here where I can change the image adjustments. I will reduce the zoom a little bit, and I can move me around and without having to move the physical camera. You don't have a lot of range here, but you have some level of motion. If you zoom higher up, then you can make more motion, but you're bigger, and I don't want a bigger me, you know, and you can see how it mostly recognizes. When I come over here, you see how I've cast a shadow up here, but okay. I'm going to take the zoom back down, just sort of. If I have no zoom, I can't move my image at all. That's totally dependent on me and the camera and where I'm in position with the camera. Now I can move over this way with my chair, and I'm over here, and you see it had a little bit of shadow created at the top. My hand appears solid except when it gets a shadow on it in behind. So you can obviously move yourself around in the field, and I'm way over here now, and a little bit at the top, and you see if I'm stable, it'll stay there. This is without any electronic. This is just moving physically in relationship to the camera. And I could, in fact, stand up, and I don't quite fit in the with this particular. I thought I had it adjusted so I could fit in here and move around, and you see it's not really disturbed by my moving because there's enough light on the green screen, and there's a little bit showing there. But anytime you cast a shadow, that is going to cause a problem in your green screen. And you see the shadows down over here on this side, down here, because I'm getting a shadow somewhere. I'm going to return to the chair, and you'll see what happens because of the shadows. This is probably more of a lighting issue, and I haven't got it quite right. Perhaps a bigger reflector would help, perhaps another set of lights. Again, I have these on a rheostat so I can adjust it, and I'm going to show you what happens. I can adjust the amount of, this is overhead light, and you see it didn't really require a lot of overhead light with my green screen setting at this point. That's low overhead light. This is a light that is down more on the sides, and You see I'm a little changed here, but not much. And I'll increase the lighting on the sides just a little bit. If I stay back at a decent distance, it's pretty good. Again, I don't have much in the way of electronic adjustment of my position, and I have the lights now lower, but I can move a little bit just by electronically. Not moving my chair, but I'm using the camera sensor to move about. So that's it for today. I've tried to provide you a little more on the green screen stuff. I've looked around at various green screen stuff, and sometimes they're so sophisticated or sometimes they're so simple. It's not a value. Hopefully this will be a value, and maybe I'll stop doing these green screens altogether. I don't know. I can see I'm getting a little fuzz, so I'm going to increase the lighting. See, that one's back on full. This is back on full. And I look pretty good. So I have all my lights pretty much back to full intensity. It's a variable. When you set up your green screen, if you have a way of varying the intensity of your floodlights, I advise you to do it. It's another variable and factor, but lighting is to get a consistent green on your back screen, and you to have enough so you can, and you obviously don't wear green, but that it will discriminate you. I move too quickly. And if I were to throw a shadow, you see shadows on myself, but you don't see anything back here. That's enough for this. This is Uncle Ron's stuff. This had to do with the green screen. Today is the 18th of February, 2025.